Couldn't hear what you were saying just there, but my point of
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
You can't hear me at all?
No.
I hear you.
What's going on with my computer? Do you hear me, right?
Yeah, I do, but this is one of the many benefits of video on calls.
Is this why? Did you say this is why you don't like video calls?
I said it's one of the many benefits of video calls.
Yeah.
Anyway, my concern is, adding people onto my lease, does that give them equal rights as me, right? Because I'm trying to bring him on basically as an employee, right? And now you're forcing me into, giving this guy equal rights to my home that I pay, all the rent for. And then if there's issues to where I say, hey, this caregiver isn't working out, then what do? How do I get this guy off the lease? And why am I being placed in this position to begin with?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, you're going to give equal rights.
Yeah, as Byron said, he would have equal rights on the lease.
He's been a tenant.
Yeah, doesn't that sound like a really bad idea?
Because
we don't have any other option.
Yeah, that would be the only option, is adding the caregiver, so that way you're not getting, all these infractions for having unwanted visitors.
Yeah. So basically, I'm being forced into another compromised situation that has an overwhelming potential to go bad.
Well, we have to add him, so it's one of those.
I hear what you're saying, but let me repeat what I just said. Due to my medical needs, I'm being forced into a situation that has the potential to make things considerably worse. Let's just keep that in mind moving forward. I have no choice. I have to have these services, right? And the VA is saying that the only way that these services can be provided to me is to continue to put myself in further danger.
The VA's not saying that. So housing and the apartments is totally something different.
Okay.
So this is not like VA housing. It's just like a voucher.
So understanding that this is a bit of a unique situation, this blanket policy being put in place is causing harm or the potential of harm, and the VA, who is put in place to mediate between me and this entity, is doing absolutely nothing. But they are saying, hey, we can add this guy to your lease to give him all the same rights and benefits that you worked for an entire career and earned. We're just going to give that to him for free and hope that your life doesn't get infinitely worse. And I can appreciate that because I'm out of options, right? I would have never done any of this in the first place had the VA not put me in this situation.
Okay, so the voucher is yours, right?
Yep.
So if you want to add someone on there, that is your choice.
Oh, I don't want to. I have to.
Yeah, because Northern Nevada community, all apartment complexes so housing itself, right? When you go to briefing and everything, they have a thing where it's 14 days that someone can stay there. But each apartment complex can choose their timeline, right?
Yep.
So unfortunately, Northern Nevada community housing is 3 days that someone can stay overnight. So if you find that you need more for the person that you want to stay, yes, adding them to the voucher is an option, but you don't have to do it.
And how do I remove them from the voucher?
That's Nevada Community Housing's rule.
Yeah, how do I remove them from the voucher?
Yeah, well, what? Can you remove them? Because I've never done removals.
Oh, remove a person?
Yeah.
Remove Northern Nevada Community Housing?
You mean remove someone from the voucher?
Yeah, hey, I'm sorry, this employee is no longer serving his function and he needs to move so I can get another employee to serve the function. How does one do that?
If he's on the lease, he has a right to live there.
Yeah, so Byron said if he's on the lease, he has a right to be there. So that would be the thing. If he's on a lease for a year, then he would be on the lease for a year.
And then what? When he doesn't work, I just say, hey, I'm going to move somebody else in because they have to perform the functions that you're not performing. Let's add them to the lease. How many people can I add to the lease?
That would be up to Northern Nevada Community Housing.
Yeah. So the point is, because we're dealing with my medical condition, right? We need to understand the limitations that you are allowing these community managers to place on me. right? Because it's exacerbating the whole
allowing
situation.
anything. Like,
But you're not
that's their-
mediating it.
that's
You're not
their thing.
mediating
It's
it.
totally
You're not
separate.
mediating it.
Yeah.
You're not mediating it.
I'm meeting it. Every time that there was an infraction, I let you know, and then I did say that you can't have people stay in your apartment, and then you said, "Well, I don't care." Then that's
No,
we've
what
had
I
this
said was
discussion.
I need
have
a
been
I need a
mediating this
caregiver, and yeah,
back
I
in
still need a
October.
caregiver. And no, I don't care that you guys don't give a shit about my day-to-day function, right? I don't give a shit that you guys don't care about my success or my failure. And I think it's absolutely tragic that the only time that you ever met with me and Gladys was the signing of the lease. Right? Nobody went through the lease with me, and that's the only time that you were ever there to perform a mediating function.
She went through the lease with you and had you sign certain things and talked about it because I was there when you were out.
Rock on. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Okay.
Right?
So if you want to,
You understand that I have multiple personalities, and when you place me in high stress situations, I flip, right? And when I flip, I don't have lasting memories of that. I try to record things so I can go back and watch it, but that doesn't seem to be of concern to anybody but me. However, you are all aware of it.
okay, so what I'm hearing is you want to add someone to the voucher, but if they don't work out, you want to be able to take them right off the voucher.
What you're hearing is I don't want to set myself up for failure. And you're saying that the only way that you can progress at all is to set yourself up for this potential major incident.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're going to have that Northern Nevada Community Housing's rule is that you cannot have anybody stay there more than 3 days. Now, you requested that your one person that stays there a lot to be added to your voucher, so we can go through that. But that is your choice.
Let's go ahead and start that process.
Not.
My request is that I get an exception to their rule because I don't want them to continue to place me in harm's way, right? I have to once again, potentially harm myself to satisfy criteria that is a blanket policy to handle everybody. And you know what? It doesn't handle everybody.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you want an exception to the rule that you can have anybody stay at your apartment.
No, that I can have a caregiver, assist me when I need it. And now they monitor me with video cameras. I haven't caused any disruptions in this community. A lot of these guys go around picking up trash and doing different things, just to look better. And then on top of that, I didn't meet these people outside of this apartment complex. They were all already here. I just utilized the people that I met in my complex.
We can go forward putting him on there, but again, that's not a VA policy. That's Section 8. So that's Section 8 having that voucher.
No, go.
What I could say is that if you wanted to, here's another idea, is if you wanted to look for somewhere else where we could find, and I can help you, a rental that's under that, so that way you wouldn't have to have the voucher. That's another option.
Yeah, that's another option. I hear you. Let's go ahead and continue through with putting him on the lease. I'm going to discuss my concerns in open court to make it part of the public record. And all of this ultimately is going to end in a lawsuit anyway. And then everybody's actions will be examined. Not just mine.
Okay.
Not just mine. I'm the only one not getting paid for it. All of you get paid to provide these services that none of you are providing.
I'm providing you services every week now.
Are you not implying that your efforts have not been severely limited by your boss?
Yes, there is a flag in place.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
I'm telling you that there's a flag in place and I have to adhere to that policy. So we can go forward with this person on the voucher. I'll let you know when the primary care is. You got eye appointment this week, so you got that written down. And then I will work at you wanted a community care appointment for mental health, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry for being so short and snappy. You don't deserve any of this. You really don't. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This has been an extremely trying time for me. Ever since September, when I reported the problems before they became a problem. And then to have the courts step in and arrest me and have me do 13 days for contempt of court. And then when that went to trial, it was all dismissed, right? Because I didn't do it, right? And then to have me pulled over and do 5 days in jail for a revoked driver's license that wasn't revoked. And then to have them add book 2 weeks later, charges from a credit union where I walked away. There was no issues, but the prosecutor just decided to arbitrarily ad book that on a Sunday when the bank wasn't even open to where they could consent to be a victim, right? It is all just fucking bullshit. And then a crime I allegedly committed in 2021 and served the entire sentence. My sentence was 90 days issued by the judge. I've served 582, right? My sentence was 90 days. I did 582. And now they want me put back in jail again for crimes that I didn't commit after they just incarcerated me for 5 days. You guys expect me to keep my shit under control under this amount of duress, and then you go, oh, we can talk to you on a video phone. Oops, I hung up on you. Now I called you back. Do you remember this? Do you remember that? You remember we talked about that 4 fucking months ago when your head was underwater and we were just dunking you down there, and you're like, hey, you remember this? Nope. You remember it now? Nope. And then you expect me to be able to act out in the community, right? Act appropriately in the community. And then all that happens is when somebody aggresses me, boom, I puffer fish, right? I'm like, what are you doing? And then everybody gets scared, and then the cops are called. And that's because you guys have me in a heightened state of duress with a broken fight or flight, symptom or condition, right? And all I do is look like somebody you don't want to continue to aggress, right? And then they're like, oh, well, now he's a behavioral flag because what happened is when we poked him with the stick 6 times, he went, knock it off.
Well, I will send that to you per your request, okay? I will let you know when the primary care is, so that way we can go together.
Yep.
Again, I'll be there with all the paperwork and everything. Yep. Have your person work on the Social Security, and then tomorrow's at 10:30, correct?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. And by the way, I get loud and passionate, but there has never been an incident of violence, period, let alone on my record, right? Now, if they want to put behavioral flags on me because I get irritated at their incompetence and the bullshit that they try to put me through, and the only time I've ever had issues is when they're trying to forcibly strip search me, right? And that was the only issues. And I just told them, I said, hey, you're not going to do that. I've changed into your scrubs. You can x-ray me. You can do all this stuff. And they're like, no, we're going to need to see your penis and your rectum. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Well, let's go to this appointment tomorrow, and Melissa's going with you, right?
That's what she says. I believe things when they happen.
Okay. So that's good support there. So
yeah, she's awesome.
10:30, and I'm sure that I will hear something from on the word or something, and then we could just move from there. I don't want to make any assumptions of what's going to happen. We'll just kind of tailor it, to what happens.
Yeah. How do I communicate what happens, or are you going to research that on your own? Because I'm not allowed to talk to you outside of these very scheduled, controlled meetings.
You can request what I've been directed to tell you is that you can request an appointment with me before next week through mental health. So if you call the main line and ask to do a VDC with me, they'll contact me right away and we can meet up. I'm off Friday, but I can.
Why don't we schedule something?
Fit you in before then.
Why don't we schedule something? Or all these stupid little hoops I have to jump through, right? These barriers to entry that the VA sets up for care, right? Genuflect at this altar, kowtow to this person, and then maybe we can provide the services that you've earned and we've contracted, right? Everybody gets paid. Everybody gets paid but me. Yeah, that's not true. I've gotten some financial benefit out of this, but not through the VA. According to you and Nation's Finest, you guys paid, 2 months worth of rent. However, the apartment complex is claiming that I owe them $2,800.
Wait, was that?
You sent a promissory note to Gladys saying that the rent
Yes.
was going to be paid, right? I'm up.
It was paid.
Okay, well, when they called back Melissa, they told her I owed them $2,800, which sounds like 3 months worth of rent.
I didn't see any of that, so I don't know where.
So
that's
I'm just
coming
going to
from.
travel of the assumption that they've been paid and they're only owed this
I
much
have a
rent.
copy of it that it was paid. So if it's not, then I can get with the landlord. But it was paid.
Okay, well, rock on. So
through
that would be the
the entity
financial
of the-
benefit that I did receive, and I am very appreciative of it, right? I don't want
It
you...
wasn't that much money, though.
Whatever it was,
So I'm confused. Yeah.
it was covered from what I understand. And if not, I'll find out
Yeah.
tomorrow.
So when you said Melissa got a phone,
Yeah,
what
so
happened? I'm sorry, you broke up for a minute.
I called them and asked, I left a message saying, will you please give me a call back and let me know the total sum that I owe you so I can, make payment. And they never called me back. So then I had Melissa call. Hi, this is Melissa Nordine, acting as caregiver for Mr. Hensley in, 305.
Yeah.
We need to know the amount of rent due so he can pay it. That was last week. She sent me a text
Yes.
this morning saying they called me back and said it's $2,800 and that they are going to call you, right? So
So I know what that is for exactly. So it's not when you moved in. So what that is for is that when you did the no payments, remember you didn't pay for the March and April? That is Nation's Finest. So they were sent. So what they probably did was April and May didn't get paid, correct? Or March and April, sorry.
Correct.
And then you owe for May.
Correct.
So they got a promissory letter, but it doesn't mean that they paid yet. So they're probably still waiting for the payment for Nation's Finest, which means I can reach out to Kim right now and ask her what's going on. But that was, they were sent a promissory to pay through Nation's Finest, which is separate from the VA because the VA doesn't make any payments for the veterans. So that is Nation's Finest. And I will
Understood.
reach out to Kim now. She's off today, but I will send her an email anyway and get that. But
Well,
that is what that is. It's
yeah.
not for when you moved in.
we'll know more about it tomorrow. I didn't think it was a move-in anything. I thought it was
Yeah.
March, April, and May, right? That made sense to me. And that's probably what it is, and we'll find out more tomorrow.
Since tomorrow is not the non-payment because you already had the non-payment eviction and that was squashed because we got the promissory letter.
Correct.
So they're probably still just waiting for the payment.
Okay, which is
So I'll
fine.
send Kim an email and I'll tag the landlord and the HR person on it so they know it.
Or just wait and see how it
Well,
plays
we're
out
talking,
tomorrow.
okay?
Can we schedule a meeting for tomorrow afternoon?
What'd you say?
May we schedule a meeting for tomorrow afternoon?
I can't do tomorrow afternoon, but I could see what I could do for Thursday, but I cannot do tomorrow.
Okay,
I'm
just
completely
keep in
booked tomorrow and
mind.
Wednesday, 'cause I'm in the rural areas.
Just keep in mind that I think if they do evict me, I have a very limited time frame to get out, to get all my stuff out. It's not like I have a place to put any of this shit, right? And then I'm going to have to figure out how to house myself and my animal, because it's either going to be the hospital or it's going to be jail. And you know what? Both of those are a more expensive option than keeping me housed.
What's their main number here?
775-324-600.
I just have them call the main line. Well, what I would say is, if anything happens, can you call our main line here at Capitol Hill? And so that way they can reach me. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I'm going to be in the rural areas. So 324-6600?
324-600.
Yeah. So it's 775-324-6600. Please be nice to the MSAs. They're very sweet.
Hey, you know what? I'm nice to absolutely everybody, right? Other than when we get into
I know.
these situations
I'm
and I
just
know
joking
somebody.
with you, but they're very nice. So
Yeah.
and they could get a hold of me because I'll be out in the rural areas. So
Yeah. No.
so I'll be out in the rural, so sometimes I get my services, sometimes not. So I would call that line and ask to talk to me if there's something's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll send you a
'Cause that's
text.
not the mental health line. That's at Cap Hill.
Yeah,
So that's
I'll call
why I'm
that.
saying,
I'll
yeah.
call that, and I'll also send you a text that you can't respond to.
Okay. Again, that's per the VA policy.
Yeah,
So-
no, it sounds like a very effective form of care. Do not communicate with this man in writing. Do not communicate with this man telephonically. Just don't communicate with this man, right? That's the VA policy, and we'll figure this out together. Because this is
And if you have to be evicted, there's options. So we can look at transitional living.
yeah. Hey, you know what? I'm in survival mode, taking one day at a time. I'm not even going to put thought into that because hopefully that's a fruitless endeavor.
Yeah.
All right.
I just let you know there's options.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
we're on it. So
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for the thing today.
You're welcome.
And I apologize for my passions. Hopefully things just get a lot better. But this month in general, ma'am, is going to be very difficult. I already called the cops and spoke to a sergeant and said, "Hey, this is where I'm at. You've pulled me over like 3 times. You know my driver's license is good. You know my car is good, and there's chances that I'm going to have problems in the community. All right. So if you get calls about a guy with a Doberman, it's me. But I'm not going to stick around for problems. You got my number. You can call me. But I told him, I said, this is your officers writing letters to my apartment complex, that has triggered a good bit of this response. You're trying to make trouble for me, you're trying to make trouble for you, and you're trying to make trouble in the community, and I don't understand how this is beneficial for anybody."
Yeah.
And I recorded that call too. Everything's recorded. Anyway, thank you for your time. Sorry, Byron. Thanks for sitting in. Hopefully her feelings aren't too hurt, when she gets off the phone, but I do appreciate you, ma'am.
No, I appreciate it. So I have my homework to do, right? So I'll get back with you on the primary care. I'll get back with you on the community care. And then you go to the eye appointment this week. Okay? Because you've been wanting that eye
May
appointment.
12th at 8 a.m. and today's the 5th. So it's not this week, it's next week.
Oh, I thought it was did I say? What time did I say?
Well, today's the 5th.
Yep, the 12th.
Yeah,
Yep,
five
the
plus
12th,
7.
the
It's
12th
a
at 8
week
a.m.
from today.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
They had one for tomorrow, but I said no because I didn't want you to have too much on
Right.
that for.
Agreed. So thank you very much, ma'am. I do appreciate you. And you have a lovely week.
I'll see you soon, okay?
Yeah, and I'll send you a text to
luck
let you
tomorrow.
know eviction or no eviction tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, sounds good.
All right,
Have a
bye-bye.
good one.
All right, bye.